Said he had 3 times in 2016 and 2017. Then I asked him, have you ever talked to Nellie Orr? And he said, no, I haven't. I said, well, why can you answer that question? Because Nellie Orr worked for Glenn Simpson, worked for Fusion. He could answer that question, but he couldn't answer because FBI counsel told him he couldn't. He couldn't answer the question whether he'd ever communicated with Glenn Simpson, a journalist. Why couldn't he answer that question?
Mr. Jordan, I appreciate you saying it isn't personal. Sometimes it feels that way. How do I know, sir? I mean, you interviewed Mr. Strzok. I didn't, so I can't
Works for you. Doesn't work for us.
There are 115,000 people who work for me, sir.
Mr. Rosenstein, did you threaten staffers on the House Intelligence Committee? Media reports indicate you did.
Media reports are mistaken.
Sometimes, but this is what they said. Having the nation's #1 law enforcement officer threaten to subpoena your calls and emails is downright chilling. Did you threaten to subpoena their calls and emails?
No, sir, and there's no way to subpoena phone calls.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm reading what the press said. I'm reading what the press said.
I would suggest that you not rely on what the press says, sir.
Well, I didn't ask if there's no way to do it. I asked if you said it.
If I said what?
What I just read you.
No, I did not.
Well, now who are we supposed to believe? Staff members who we've worked with, who've never misled us, or you guys who we've caught hiding information from us, who tell a witness not to answer our questions? Who are we supposed to believe?
Thank you for making clear it's not personal, Mr. Jordan.
Well, I'm saying the Department of Justice.
Me because I'm telling the truth and I'm under oath. And if you want to put somebody else under oath and they have something different,
I know these staff members.
Respond.
Here's my last question. What's so important that you know that you don't want us to know, that you won't give us the documents we're asking for, that the House of Representatives is about ready to go on record saying you should give us? What's so darn important that you will threaten members, at least according to media reports and according to the staff members, threaten members?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
What is so important, Mr. Rosenstein?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
This is not an appropriate time for a parliamentary inquiry.
And point of order. The gentleman keeps representing that the House of Representatives. Yes, it will be. The Republicans who continue
that is not an appropriate point of order.
Well, he needs to be correct in his statement.
The time of the gentleman will
be
restored.
The members of the Republican Party.
The gentleman will suspend. The time of the gentleman from Ohio will be restored for another additional 15 seconds, and then the Deputy Attorney General will be allowed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Rosenstein, Mr. Ray, I do appreciate your work, but I'd also appreciate if the House of Representatives could get the information. We have repeatedly, Mr. Gowdy talked about how long this investigation is going on, how long there's been a special counsel. We started asking for information in July of last year, and some of that is still has not been given to the Congress, still has been given to this committee, the committee charged with defending the Judiciary Committee. So I appreciate what you do. I just want the information, and we're so frustrated that there is now a resolution on the floor of the House in just a few minutes that will be voted on.
The time of the gentleman has expired. Mr. Rosenstein will be allowed to respond.
I don't have any control over what resolutions you vote on, sir, and you should feel free to do that. But
the gentleman will suspend it. The time now is the Attorney General's.
If you're interested in the truth, Mr. Jordan, the truth is we have a team of folks. They're Trump appointees and career folks, and they're doing their best to produce these documents. Director Wray explained to you the process. He's got hundreds of people working around the clock trying to satisfy these requests. So whether you vote or not is not going to affect it. You're going to get everything that's relevant that we can find and produce to you. I support this report, sir. I'm not trying to hide anything from you.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Johnson, for 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your service. I've been impressed with your diligence and your
information from Congress that it's appropriate.
In a few minutes, Mr. Rosenstein, I think the House of Representatives
and he came back because he wanted to prosecute
Congress.
Congressman, I am not keeping any information from Congress that it's appropriate
and not torn down, and people who tear them down tear down the flag and tear down the American
gentleman has
expired. I yield back and
Thank
hope the Constitution is respected.
Time of the gentleman has expired. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, for
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rosenstein, why are you keeping Mr. Rosenstein, why are you keeping information court judge, more importantly, Chairman, Mr. Rosenstein, why are you keeping
And now today we have an investigation of the investigation of the investigation, and it's a emergency situation. Also a part of this hearing is a attempt to investigate the ongoing criminal investigation into the allegations and indications of collusion and perhaps conspiracy with Russians in the conducting of the 2016 presidential election. And ominously, what the Republicans are trying to do is force the FBI and DOJ to turn over to this committee investigating the investigators information, documents that go to the heart of the criminal investigation. It's been my experience that the criminal investigators never turn over information. They're never even asked to turn over information in an ongoing criminal investigation. Can you both comment on the uniqueness of what's happening today and the danger that it poses to?
Mr. Chairman.
What is so important, Mr. Rosenstein?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
But I'd also appreciate if the House of Representatives could get the information. We have repeatedly, Mr. Gowdy talked about how long this investigation is going on, how long there's been a special counsel. We started asking for information